Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back with you to talk about House of Villains, the penultimate episode. It's episode 9 of season 3, and we're talking about the final 5 as we have some divas down in this episode as we lost the bromance of both Tyson and Tom Sandoval here in this 1 hour of House of Villains. But here with me to talk about it, first, Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, Rob. We're in the home stretch here. Sad to lose Tom and Tyson, but I do believe I feel prepared to declare that we've had another iconic day in the reality TV universe. You know, you might have you know a little something called Rock Star's daughter's birthday.
Yes.
I feel like this episode gave us Drita's daughter's graduation day, Giselle's graduation day. A big day in the House of Villains season 3 house. So I thought it
A
was a
big
very, very
day.
fun, fun
Yes.
day.
Yes. I'm sure that her daughter was robbed of hearing about how her mom had the least spit in her cup.
You guys spit in my cup on my daughter's graduation day?
Yes. All right. And here with us, it's Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
I'm good. I'm in mourning. I'm wearing all my black today. Pour one out for the guys, the bros, the duo. It was one guy, now it's no guys, and we lost them both in the same episode. I'm very sad that we've been cliffhangering ourselves up until this point, but I'm still happy to be back talking about House of Villains. I'm very excited to see how the end shakes out because I think it could be very interesting with who we have left.
Yeah, Tom and Tyson, they shared a bed. They pushed their 2 separate beds together. They also pushed their boot episodes together to make one giant super boot episode. And we will have an exit interview with Tyson and Tom. Jenny and I have already recorded it.
They cannot be separated.
Yes, they cannot be separated. Jenny, do you want to tease the Tyson and Tom Sandoval exit interview?
Strap in.
Like Joe McHale.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
The HR violation, maybe.
Okay. And it might be before you realize that you're behind the wall. Like, Kate pressed the button before you even knew it, and it's over. Like,
yes. Okay. And Tom Sandoval has a lot to say. And so check out the exit interview with Tyson and Tom coming out soon after we drop this pod. But okay, we're gonna talk about it all. That we had the cliffhanger last week where not a big surprise that Tom ends up going out. Tyson ends up in a bad spot in this episode. Could we just like look ahead a little bit in terms of who's got this? Where are we going with this winner of House of Villains? I feel like it's anybody's game.
I don't know if it's anybody's game. Like I'd be hard pressed to see Christine winning this at this point.
Sure.
But looking over at Drita and Kate, I have to believe it's one of the two of them. Like I think Paul can beat Christine. I don't know if Paul can beat New York, but Paul cannot beat Kate or Drita. And Drita, I'm pretty sure could beat literally everybody in that house. So I don't know if it's very lopsided. I guess it's very lopsided in one direction, right? Like the people who are lasting the longest here, they've been playing a really strong game. I don't know if there'll be a lot of harsh feelings. I know we obviously talked about how we saw how Tom Sandoval feels about Kate, but if they let Drita make it to the end, I just don't see anybody else being able to take the win here. Jenny, do you agree?
Here's the thing. I know that we should talk through all of the scenarios, that we do still have 5 people left as we close out this episode. However, I have a feeling that I have a strong feeling about who the final 3 are going to be. And I think it's a 2-horse race. But I do think that it is interesting between the two that I think that it'll be between. I do think that this is going to be Drita versus Kate as the big decision. And I think that it's interesting. Like we've got Tom, as he's being eliminated here, basically saying like, I'm not going to vote for Kate and other people are not going to vote for Kate. And we do know that Drita's got friends, but I also think that, you've got some gamer people that are going to respect that Kate did kind of play the game and did control a lot of what happened in this season. So I wouldn't say count Kate out at all. We definitely have Tyson leaving, saying like Kate's playing the best game here as his pitch to kind of stay. So I think it'll be interesting. But you never know. Like, could be different, but I really think those two are going to be in our final three, and ultimately the vote will be between the two of them.
I'm surprised that neither of you feel like that New York has a shot at this. Is this just that she can't win? She's gonna need some comp wins to get to the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, some very important comp wins, but also the right eliminations. New York can win sitting next to Christine. New York might be able to win sitting next to Paul. But how New York is able to get out Kate and Drita before the final two, I would love to, we're gonna have to see some stellar competition prowess for that to happen. I think anybody else is going to eliminate New York before she gets to the end. I don't see anybody wanting to sit next to New York, nor should they want to sit next to Drita. Unfortunately for Kate, I think Kate's all in on Drita. I don't think there's any world where Kate turns on Drita. That just doesn't feel like Kate's style. She's an empath, of course. That's not how she gets down. So Christine definitely has to get a lot of people out, and she has to do it in a short amount of time. But New York just has to be sitting next to Christine or Paul. I think New York can beat Paul. But we are very high on New York. I'm very high on her gameplay this season. But she's kind of in a corner, she's got in that coveted spot where it's one versus an entire alliance, and it's not great. It's not great.
Well, I just bring this up because we have Paul here in this game, but is it possible that Tom and Tyson have vowed not to vote for Kate? And so if New York got to the end with Kate, is it possible now? I don't know. Does everybody come back, going back to the very beginning to vote?
Yeah, because it's such a small cast. So did we not have a season where, was it Bobby Lights that didn't come back and vote? What was
but that's because Bobby had another
another engagement. He just couldn't come back. But yes, in most cases, like Jackie will be there. Everyone will come back. It's a small enough cast and it's a short enough filming time that they do bring back everyone to vote. I agree though that I don't think that anyone's letting New York get there, and I don't know that she will win her way there. There is enough other competition when it comes to challenges here. It's not like she's up against any slouches here, so she's also got that working against her. You have New York in the end, and it's just it's her third season and she finally got to the end where she could be voted to win. That's just way too risky. Just the, the lore and the meta of it all. It's how are you not going to give it to New York if she's at the end? She is the show in a way. I could see people thinking about that. And also New York has friends on the jury. She rode hard for Tom and Tyson, even though there were some weird things near the end here and there. But you're thinking okay, well, Tom and Tyson aren't going to vote for Kate. Maybe not Drita. I don't know. They'll definitely vote for New York. So I think that it would really, really take a lot for her to end up there. I would love to see it. I'm thinking back to the nut challenge, and it's we were so close. We were so close to our first New York supervillain, and what the season could have been completely different. The endgame would have been completely different if we saw that, but
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll do more prognostication, but listen, that the two greatest House of Villains experts in the world are breaking it down for me. I'm blessed.
No. We've done the research here, so you didn't have to. And if no one else is rooting for New York, it's definitely us. As much as we love this cast, we've already dedicated our lives and our happiness and all the good stuff in between to New York and her success specifically on this show. So I am very happy to talk about some of the things that I think she's doing well strategically. But Rob, it hurt my heart to see them jumping my girl. I mean, her and Tyson versus the world this episode. Ugh. There's no way they were going to pull it off, but I had my fingers crossed, that they were going to win that challenge. I don't know. I got my hopes up.
It's rough. It was a hard end for Tyson here, and not a lot of rope to grab.
Yeah, and I will back up Tyson here as to say that the game design here on this final 6 challenge was brutal, where you already have a house vote to do the elimination, and then it was like a challenge that was basically vote out the people you don't like.
And no chance to no redemption challenge as well, and
no chance to defend. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a few things here. I love that they include this confessional from Tyson where he's openly like criticizing the game design. I feel like that's a very House of Villains thing that you're not really going to see a lot of shows include that. So
no other show would do that.
I really don't think so. I just don't think that like in the same way that they're really like having this, everything about House of Villains is really meta and like breaking the fourth wall and just showing these kinds of like the commentary on the game as it's happening, like the show as it's happening. So thought that was really interesting. Tyson's argument of like this would have been a more fair competition if it was just like, put the thing into your own because at first when I saw the challenge I thought, oh, it's like the slip and slide from Big Brother, like we've seen this many times, and while that easily could be a challenge here, which I think we all agree Tyson would definitely have won or pretty like had a really good shot if that was the objective of this challenge. Fair. I actually don't hate this as a challenge idea, though. I just hate the timing of it. Not just because Tyson, didn't have like he had no shot here. When everyone can basically just gang up to get one person out. I just think that by this point in the game, like you said, Rob, there's already a vote function. There's already ways to like try and guarantee somebody gets up on the hit list or gets out. We didn't need this here. This would be a great like earlier game thing where people really have to put like show who you're working with, like when there's more people involved. I just think that this would have been a better challenge where there's a little bit more of a gray area of where people's alliances are. So that's my like addition to the criticism that Tyson had.
And I think that, the Tyson idea isn't necessarily fair. It's like really favors a Tyson type. It's sort of like the type of challenge you might see in the end game of Big Brother, where it's like, hey,
we're cursing at it.
Yeah, we're like, hey, that's not fair either. But I do agree with Tyson that it was just basically that the house had the ability to gang up on one person, which is not what you want.
Yeah, this is the coconut chop challenge, right? It reveals the pecking order, and it allows the big alliance to take out the people they want, effectively choosing who's going to win whatever competition it is, whether it be immunity on Survivor, the HOH on Big Brother, and here Supervillain of the Week. I think the other big flaw here is that you cannot save yourself. I think that not having a redemption challenge, I don't really care if the challenge is fair or not. It's as House of Villains, they're not ever fair, right? They just do stuff. But I do think had Tyson had a chance to actually like go against this challenge, which is directly designed to get him out, not him specifically in mind, but anybody in him in New York's position is going to go, they're not going to win, right? And if they're iced out from winning this, more than likely they're the targets. And we saw that play out right in front of our eyes. So yeah, revealing the pecking order at this point, it's fine. I definitely think earlier is better. Tyson kind of did that on his own with his notebook. And so, I mean, Ashley and them kind of did that on their own with their notebook. But I think at this point, maybe they're trying to incentivize people to see who people are putting ahead of them as we are approaching the final two. Because if I'm Christine, Lord Jesus, if I'm Christine, my sister, look, open your damn eyes, okay? These people don't love you, girl. They just put you on the block. Like, these are the challenges that are supposed to show you this kind of thing. Like, after Tyson and New York are out, who's the next person we're mad at for doing well? It's Christine. She's got to wake up to this. And I think the show is trying to highlight that as people are trying to decide who they're going to go to the end game with. It just really sucks that it's just a death blow for whoever loses this challenge.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
do you think that the idea, because there was a lot of drama that came out of this, so I will give kudos to the producers for that part of it, where that they wanted to show off the pecking order, and then there was drama, not in the way that they intended. But was that sort of the idea of, hey, let's all fill these up back to let's make it an even starting point so that we don't have to reveal who's on the bottom?
No, because at the end of the day, and this is what I was waiting on Christine to say, someone has to win the challenge. We can't just go even and then just stand there. Someone has to actively target somebody. For Drita, Drita, are you going to target Christine if we get it all even? Paul, are you going to target Christine? Are you going to target Drita? You have to make a decision. At some point, someone has to pull the trigger and say, I want to win Supervillain of the Week. And whoever that was probably going to get the ire of the person who does not win. This time around, Drita thought, you should just give it to me. My daughter's graduating today. I shouldn't even have to say I want it. I didn't have any water, any venom in my cup. So why would you then go and put venom in my cup so that you could win the challenge when I didn't have venom in my cup? So I should just automatically win the challenge by default. Isn't that how this should be played? I don't agree at all. And I think because Drita and Christine and Paul are all just cartoon characters of people, that this got blown way out of proportion, because it didn't have to be like this. If I was Christine, I would have just said, who was going to win the challenge if we all just stood there and didn't put any venom in somebody's cup? But the answer is Drita. Drita wanted to win. That's all.
Well, I will argue, and again, I kind of see both sides of it here, because I understand from Christine and Paul's perspective, like, okay, well, I would also like to win. That would be fun. I'm fairly sure at this point none of them have been supervillain. I know that Paul was like the right hand of Johnny's supervillain, but none of them had their shot. So it's like, we're getting down to it. You want to be able to have a resume or whatever and say that you were responsible for getting somebody out, especially if you know it's going to be Tyson at this point. Like, everyone like wants to be able to say like, oh, I was the person that finally got Tyson out, even though it was like a group effort. But like, at the same time, I can see the argument of like, okay, what are we doing here? We're going to make this go on for another however long. Like, we've accomplished the end goal. And to be fair, when there were more people in the game, Drita was the least targeted by everyone. And so let's just you pick a person, just keep filling it. It doesn't have to be an agreement of let's try and even it out. You just decide like, hey, is Paul the closest to being out? All right, let's go and fill up Paul's. Like, and then yes, you are probably going to get the inevitability of Drita winning there. But I just, the filling, like the making it even argument, no, like, just say I wanted to win too. I wanted to win too. It wasn't like, I was having such a good time in this giant pile of foam on my knees. Like, Joel is fucking falling asleep, basically. Like, let's make this go on as long as possible. This is such a great time. Like, come on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the challenge ends up being a little bit of that, maybe some hope for Tyson, who is really in dire straits after not winning this competition, because I couldn't believe how long they fought about this.
No, this was crazy. So Tyson, first off, he sees the challenge and he says, oh, I can win this. He was wrong, because he didn't realize in the moment that they're going to jump you. So he tells Paul, hey, the sequence of events. He goes over to the one huddle, and it's Drita and Kate sitting there talking. Paul shows up. Tyson shows up, and they're like, get out of here. You're not welcome here. So he's like, all right, cool, bet. So he goes over to the other side, and he's got New York and Christine. He's like, they got a group over there. They're going to come for us first. They don't listen. So he goes back to Paul and he says, Paul, if you, and I'm going to move twice as fast as you, and you're going to be out. And Paul's like, yes, but you're still going to lose. The only objective here, there's one goal, and it's to make sure Tyson doesn't win. There's no backup target. There's no split vote. Everybody is fine except for Tyson. He has nowhere to go. So he starts this off by threatening Paul, which only pisses Paul off and inspires Paul to even go harder against him. And then, of course, we see the ultimate downfall of Tyson, followed by New York. And then, they do this whole, we got to keep it even thing, which makes no sense. But from Drita's point of view, she should have won at that point. Like, we should just stop the game. I have nothing in my cup. Let's wrap this up.
Finish this. Yeah.
Yeah. But since they want to play games, we lead to the prizes that we get later on.
Can I ask you guys, in Chappell specifically, as the resident New Yorkologist? So I had the thought during the challenge, is she throwing the challenge? She knows it's bad for Tyson. She's like, I can't see. She was like wandering around. She says in the confessional that, I'm trying my hardest here. But I just wondered, she ultimately doesn't vote for Tyson to stay at the end of it. Was she cutting bait on Tyson, do you think?
Not purposely. I think New York is always in a battle between being a gamer and being the character that she is. And so I think those two things came to a head. Yes, she is helping Tyson, but she can only help him within the bounds that is New York. And so if something gets in her eye, she has to throw a fit about it because that's who New York is. Now, should she be ignoring that and also helping Tyson? Absolutely. But realistically, Rob, the two of them weren't going to do shit no way. You know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't, unless New York was going to take out the other 4 people, Tyson was dead in the water. So maybe she was just being a showman because she saw the writing on the wall.
I also have to, I had this thought watching it, because first of all, I do agree with what Chappell's saying. I don't think that she's necessarily like purposely throwing it. She's just like, she's kind of always got this energy of like, she's kind of fumbling around, and I had the thought of the thing in her eyes, and it felt so real to me because I don't know if you've noticed, New York has some like, especially in this episode, some wild eyelashes going on. Okay, stay with me here. I believe they were wearing goggles for this challenge. I think they were wearing goggles with the foam. If I could be wrong, but I think they were. However, the goggles don't protect you from anything. And as someone who has dabbled in lashes of all kinds, the kind you glue on,
foam parties.
And no, actually,
look, that's
I was at a foam party in the Dominican recently.
Really?
Whoa.
I was talking about a decade ago for me, Gina. I gotta get like you.
No, I mean, this is not like that. It was not like that. I was present. There was foam. Anyway, it was not like that. However, so I have dabbled in the eyelashes, the glue-on ones, the extensions. I am even a lash lift. I'm telling you, and the others who have had this experience will ride with me here. That shit stings your eyes sometimes, okay? Like sometimes if you get like a little bit of the residue of the glue like in your eye, it stings. Sometimes if your eye just waters like close after getting some sort of lash situation, it stings. So I think that it's completely plausible that she got a little bit of whatever the foam was through the goggles into her eye completely. How can she see past some of these eyelashes in the first place? Okay. So I think that this was genuine from New York. Like New York is always going to be a little more New York, but I believe that there was some crazy shit happening with her eyes, with the foam.
I don't know. She was very sad after Tom Sandoval went out. She was, sitting with Tyson, and she seemed to be genuinely upset. So I don't know if she was necessarily trying to throw the challenge.
Yeah, and this is so I like, as the historian here for New York, I can speak to specific occasions where her eyelashes have betrayed her before. I'm looking back at I Love New York season 1 finale episode. She's on her final 2 date with Tango, and she's having a really tough time because the wind is blowing her eyelashes in her face while they're on a boat. New York typically doesn't do well on boats anyway. I don't know why she did that, but she managed to push through. But it was a tough date to start. It started off kind of rocky because those eyelashes were on her neck or on her face. And then in her second date, she jumped into the water with some dolphins and the eyelashes came right off. It was a tough 2 days in Mexico for New York. So this is not the first time.
Yeah. Lashes are serious business. Like, you know, you live and die by them.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Yeah, Rob, I
My
trust me.
privilege.
You have
Yeah.
no idea. You have
Please.
no
I know.
idea.
I had no idea. So I did think that the Tyson and Paul confrontation, you know, it's coming off of where Tyson was hot with Paul from Paul didn't do what he said he was going to do from Tyson's perspective. Paul felt like he had considered Tyson and Tom's offer and then ultimately rejected it. For Tyson to come out and say like, "Hey, listen, Paul, you better do this," I thought was, you know, a dramatic moment to start this challenge.
Spicy Tyson.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, New York and Tyson both feel really betrayed by Paul here. I think Tyson had been trying to put in a lot of good work for Paul, but Paul's been a free agent since his alliance was decimated. And so he doesn't care. He's going to say whatever he has to say. He says, "I'm a rat. Y'all call me a rat." So he's scampering around doing rat things, and they're just going to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about this, though. I want both of your perspectives on, was there any point in Paul at least partially playing ball, knowing that like he didn't necessarily like Tyson was going to get out anyway? Was it worth, you know, having any goodwill with Tyson by not obviously being part of the mob that takes him out? Or does that piss off Drita and Kate and Christine too much for it to be worth anything? Because I'm just saying, if you know that like by not helping them, it's not necessarily going to mean that Tyson is going to win this challenge. He's still dead in the water. Like, I think that even if Paul was kind of just distributing the venom in other people's cups here and there, maybe the odd one in Tyson say like, I don't know, I wasn't going straight for you. I did a little bit of everyone's. Is there any point in that, or do you just have to, you know, cut bait and just say, listen, you also threatened me? Because Tyson's essentially saying like, as soon as I know you are in on this going for me, I am putting all of my focus on getting you out because I'm taking you out with me. And if you're Paul and you really would like to try to win this, is there any benefit to trying to like maybe not get Tyson going for you here? Because he's still going to be in the game for a little bit. And if he's putting all of his spit in your thing, then like you're not going to win either. I don't know. Is there any like validity to this?
I don't know. I feel like you don't want to piss off Drita and Kate. And I think the moment you kind of, they don't really do the playing both sides part of the diplomatic part of the game, right? They're like loyal to the soil. And then, you know, if you slide over a little bit, I mean, they were ready to turn on Christine and Paul both in this episode just because they won a challenge that the entire team was trying to win together. You know, there's that cool moment where Drita says, "Yeah, we were trying to get the team a win." And Christine says, "The team did win." And Drita's like, "Yeah, but did you have to jump me to win?" It's like, all right, whatever. Whatever.
But going back to when Josh came to the house, and wasn't his advice to Paul like, "Hey, stick with the guys"? Like, it feels like that. Isn't there a world where if Tom and Tyson are so disliked in this house, wouldn't that be like the best possible story for Paul to win against a person because of a bitter jury? Wouldn't that be the ultimate great ending to Paul's story?
I mean, there's a world on House of Villains that's possible. I do feel like with a few of these people, they would have to really, really be hating on Tyson and Tom because I like I've been saying, Paul is like a gamer squirrel 24/7. Like Paul is playing this game like it is the Big Brother house, and no one else is on that level. Like, you know, even you know, a gamer like Tyson is like not 24/7 intense like Paul is. And I think that does rub people the wrong way. They don't like that it seems like he's always like kind of playing things. And so I don't know if that even helps the situation here, and he might still have votes against him no matter what.
Tyson
But I
is
do like that
on and
argument
off.
from Josh.
Yeah, Tyson is all or
yes.
nothing with the gaming. He's either gaming or totally goofing off and not playing the game.
Yeah.
I totally disagree about the Josh thing. I think that we've stepped so far away from that season of Big Brother that we have started to believe that Josh is good at these games. Let me be very clear. If Josh gives you advice, do not take it.
It's been a while since you've ranted about Josh.
It has been a long time. And because I've been warming up to Josh Martinez as a character.
Right.
But make no mistake, so the season Paul loses to Josh is the most egregious loss in Big Brother history since Danielle Reyes. It had no business happening. And for Josh to basically say, yeah, Paul, go betray Drita and Kate and Christine so they can go be bitter and you can lose again in the final two. Because that's what he's asking for. Like, I think Drita is a game recognized game type woman, right? She's from day one said, I'm not working with Tyson. And this whole time they've been going back and forth, but she's never been like, let me hear Tyson out. No, your team versus my team. That's the way she's playing the game. Paul being on both teams is going to just get the ire of Tyson and Tom when he betrays them, as he did. You're definitely going to get the ire of New York because she's not going to understand why you would backstab her. And then Drita and Kate are also supposed to be backstabbed by Paul and get to the end and say, you know, we really don't like Tom Sandoval because Tyson put a note under our desk, under my, in my chair that time. Like, damn, I can't vote for him. That would have been a losing recipe for Paul. I'm not quite sure how Paul wins this season, but had he taken Josh's advice, he'd be way off. And I just feel like we might be like careening toward Paul losing in the final two on yet another show if he doesn't do something quickly.
Tyson said it, and he said, when he had the argument with Paul in the kitchen, he says second place at most or something like that. It's definitely possible, and I think that Paul is the kind of villain and plays games in the villainous way that I think is almost never going to be respected in a game like this, because it's not straightforward. It's not like it's the playing both sides. It's the bullshitting. It's the rat behavior. Like he said, like he's calling out his game. He is being a rat, but no one wants to vote for a rat. Like they want to vote for someone who's like, you were a dickhead and you got me out, but you had power and you stood on business. Where as opposed to like, you were kind of like in the shadows, like pretending to be with people and then like skirting away when they called you out. And I can just see that like, it's really, really hard for that sort of gameplay to be respected by these people. Like, do you think that Drita is going to vote?
She's not voting for a rat.
Like,
the mob wife voted for a rat?
Never. So I, as much as I love Paul, and I agree, Chappell, one of the most robbed, I just think that there's a reason. There's still a reason. And I don't think that, even though I think he has learned a lot of lessons since his 2 losses, I don't know that this gameplay is the kind that gets rewarded on House of Villains. We have not seen it happen yet.
Rob, we saw Johnny Bananas lose to Tanisha from Bad Girls Club, Wes lose to Safari from Love and Hip Hop, and now Paul is playing a very similar game where he's Machiavellian and making all these moves. They haven't been rewarding this. This is not a winning combination, sir.
Yeah, so
lose to mob wife.
My first real experience of watching House of Villains, it does seem like that the winning strategy to play House of Villains is to do nothing.
No. We've seen people lose doing that too. Look no further than Teresa. Was it Guides? Yeah, she did nothing. The thing is, you have to do something, but I think you have to stand by your people. I think if we're creating the evolution of strategy for this, I think you have to be with your people. You have to be straight up. I think that's the thing about the villains, is they're brash and they say what's on their mind, and they can respect that. You cursed me out at a banishment ceremony, whatever. I don't care. You know, it's a game. But when you're betraying me and going behind my back, we're petty first. Even Tyson, I've never seen this side of Tyson. He's in the kitchen like, I'm petty. Y'all didn't know I was petty. I was like, no, I actually thought you would vote for gameplay, sir. Who are you? But I think
You went out saying, suck my dick.
right. I was like, wait a minute. What did you do to the Tyson that I knew? So yeah, I don't know, Rob. I think you got to do something, but you can't be sniveling. I don't think that's the type.
You gotta be loyal to your people.
You gotta ride or die for the villainy. You can't try to do both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, well, we see Paul and Tyson getting into it after the challenge. It does seem like Tyson is the most mad at Paul.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, Paul is playing both sides. You can't be mad at Kate. Kate told you 3 weeks ago she wanted you out. Drita has wanted you out since the moment she laid eyes on you. Who knows what the hell Christina's thinking? But, you got New York. Who else is there to be mad at? Paul, the person who probably led you to believe that he was going to vote with you or something like that. So yeah, Paul's putting himself in a tight spot. He's probably lost Tyson's vote at this point, which is crazy because I would think generally Tyson would respect the gameplay, Rob. But these villains, they do what they want.
Tyson will hold a grudge.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that about him. I guess. I mean, like because who has he ever had a chance to really hold a grudge against, right? Like we saw in Token Jeans, everybody voted for JT. It was just a thing to do. He didn't make the jury the second time he played.
Who did he vote for in Winners at War?
Who did he vote for in Winners at War?
Natalie.
He voted for Natalie? Oh, Tyson. Tyson.
But that was his friend. That was his edge of extinction buddy.
Yeah.
They were like the millionaires of
he didn't vote for a resume there.
Unless he counts the resume he saw on Edge of Extinction. Yeah. You're making a good point, Rob. But yeah, I just didn't expect pettiness in his I expected the gamer types to be more gamery in their critique. Mm. And now it feels like, no, this House of Villains, I'm going to be villainous on my way out.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, I think that he kind of came into the house and like, again, he's not a villain in the same way that some of these people are villains. And I think that he doesn't even necessarily like see himself super like as a super villain, even though was on the villains tribe in Heroes versus Villains. But I think that it's kind of one of those things where it's like, as you're going through the process, you're like, how are you going to sit back and let all these people call each other the C words and get up? Like, everyone's yelling at each other. And it's like, after a certain while, Tyson likes to have fun. He's like, you know what? It does seem like they're having fun when they call each other names. And I don't know. I think that maybe just on the way out, it's like, maybe this will feel a little liberating. Throw up the middle finger and tell them to S my D.
Double bird.
So I don't know. I think it was maybe just like he got contact high from the villains, but I don't know. I think that Paul has put himself in this losing position, unfortunately, like by playing the middle. And technically choosing the side that has more numbers that he is on the bottom of. Like, at least if he were to choose to ride, okay, so yeah, he didn't keep Tom, but maybe if he swapped back, because at this point you are just like switching sides here.
He needs to swap back.
Like, if you do swap back to Tyson and New York, you might still get to the final three with some combination of them and other people. And maybe if you don't think that you can win against New York and Tyson, if you can see yourself getting to 3 with them, you at least have a chance. And I just think that he's also in a winning out kind of situation here where I don't think, especially now that Drita, Christine, and Kate are going to cut each other. So I think it's like, as long as one of them is in power, I think that no one's bringing Paul to the end. I really don't think so. So that's my argument, is that like, you chose 3, you chose a tight 3, you could have chosen a 2. Like, then you're putting yourself at 3 instead of 4. Math.
let's talk about some of the fallout that comes out of this challenge, because obviously Drita is mad. Christine doesn't know why she's mad. People are mad at Kate. It's all really unraveling, and it does seem like that there's maybe a crack for Tyson. There was the very funny moment that Chappell, I think you mentioned about Kate is an empath, where everybody in the production started laughing.
I was laughing too, and I thought it said Chappell started laughing. I had to like pause the screen. I was like, "How did you know?" And it's like, "Oh no, the crew was laughing." Kate is ride or die for Drita. That's the only way you play with Drita. You don't play with Drita and play both sides. You don't play and have other alliances. You pick Drita's side and you go with it, and that's going to keep you safe from Drita's ire. Now you could probably sit next to Drita and try to win, but we've been seeing so much personal content from Drita. I mean, her whole story is her kids and her family, how much she needs the money. We don't know why the hell Kate is here. I mean, by force, obviously, because she wouldn't have signed up for this on her own, it seems. But yeah, spite, but yeah,
I think a winner edited like that. Like, did Safari you get an edit like that?
Not really.
No.
The first season we did hear about Tanisha a lot. We were learning a lot about Tanisha's family. Safari, on the other hand, Safari can't get a winner edit like that. He's not a person who has the content.
Yeah, you don't have the same content as Tanisha or Drita.
But I did think it was very funny. But yeah, Kate's riding for Drita. There's nothing else that can happen here. She's going to go to the final two with her. She's probably going to lose in the final two to Drita as well. But for Kate, I mean, what's the alternative? Go to the final, like cut her and then piss her off too. Tom's mad at you. I think you have to just go with the flow here.
I also think that Kate is the kind of person where, like, sure, she would like to win, but she's basically said it herself. She cares more about making sure people she doesn't want to win don't win. And so in a way, like, she really does
She's so real
and respect Drita, so that it's like, okay, best case scenario, I stick by Drita and I still win. Worst case scenario, I stick by Drita and my friend Drita beats me. And like, none of these scenarios involve me losing to someone I don't want to lose to and that I hate or I'm like spiteful towards. So I think that is kind of how Kate sees this here. But she's also making it very clear that she is kind of like number one standing in Drita's corner here, because I feel like Paul and Christine really expected Kate to kind of like take their side and be like, why is Drita so mad? And I love this about Kate, is she just keeps it so real and is just like, well, yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like, she says everything so matter of factly. Like, she acknowledges Drita is emotional. She's emotional today. It's her daughter's graduation day and she wanted this. Also, yeah, didn't really make a lot of sense. Why are we evening it out? What was the point of that? She does not tell you what you want to hear. She will not bullshit you like that. And I think that Christine and Paul really just didn't know how to process that, because they really were thinking like, why is she so mad? And like, you're going to agree with us. And Kate was not.
So
that's a real one.
All right. We see that Christine creates a word called cating.
Yeah, it's bravoing as well. Rob, you have some experience in bravoing. Not personally, but you've been
people bravoing. Yes.
Yes. You've seen it up close.
I've seen it up close.
What was your experience? Yeah.
But is that what Kate does? Because I would say that what I see Kate do is not necessarily the same as what I have seen more up close. But I mean, maybe if I squint enough at it, where I kind of feel like that Kate doesn't necessarily care. She seems like indifferent, whereas but I have seen her like go on the attack in the same way once she has sort of been set off.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the same.
It's like weaponized indifference. Let me take you back to the elimination of Tom Sandoval. Kate says, Christine is gorgeous and intelligent and all this other stuff. And then she basically says, Tom, you're going to try your hardest and do your best and make up for the things. And you working your hardest and doing your best, my bare minimum beats that. She's like, the fact that I'm not even trying is better than you, and that you got to go. And then she shoots him through the door without any last words. Like, for someone who doesn't care, she kind of ate. You know, and so that's why you're like, wait a minute, did she really not care? Does she realize not caring is her personality? Like, that's her character, and then she can use that to Bravo or to Kate, the verb, not the noun.
Yeah, and that was hilarious when Joel said, I didn't even get to ask Tom his last words. Like, Tom, any last words? And he's still like from.
I love Tyson.
Wall.
Keep the super bed warm. That was so funny. Again, like, you don't get this in other shows. You're not getting the, like, they reshoot that in another show. Okay. On House of Villains, they're like, that is just insane. Let's keep it. Like, I love it.
Yeah. That is very fun. That is it's the show that really knows like what it is, and is like so I think that is probably my favorite thing about House of Villains. I think the game for me leaves a lot to be desired, but in terms of like the show understanding what it is, and those fourth wall breaking moments, I think are the most fun.
It's basically a cartoon. You know, like if you think back to like those old cartoons where they would have the crossover episodes, the Flintstones meet the Jetsons or something like that. Like, nothing that happens in the actual episode matters. The wacky races and things like that. Like, none of that stuff moves a storyline or a plot. It's just like, isn't it cool to see all these people on the screen? What kind of crazy things can we make them do? This is the personification of that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like, despite the amount that Chappell and I can like go off the rails of about the strategy and like the minutia of the gameplay here, ultimately the show is entertainment, and also there's a game aspect. Like,
it's basically Big Brother.
It really does a good job of creating a television product that is a fun watch. And also there's a game. They're playing a game.
It's like Big Brother that knows it's a Big Brother, because Big Brother doesn't know it's Big Brother. Big Brother thinks it's Survivor. Yeah, Big Brother thinks it's Survivor, and it's not. The House of Villains knows that it's Big Brother.
Okay, I like that.
Okay. Tyson is making his last ditch effort. It seems like that he's maybe making some progress with Christine, but I don't know, maybe she's just telling him what he wants to hear.
Christine is such an anomaly. Kate can't figure out if Christine is just really, really smart and playing dumb, or if she's just really, really dumb. And I am very confused as well. Like, I would have, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have said Christine is very smart. She's very smart. She's very calculated. She knows what she's doing. I am not so sure anymore. The show has led me to believe that this lady has no clue what's going on at any given time, and she's just spinning her wheels. If I think Paul has a chance of beating anybody, it's probably Christine, because at least they know that with Paul, he is awake. Whereas like Christine, sometimes she just says random words and phrases that don't matter, that don't mean anything. Strategically, I'm not quite sure what she's doing, but I do think Paul going with Christine in New York to the final three is way better than going to the final three with Kate and Drita.
Yeah. I enjoyed that Christine kind of, I know you said asleep, but like she did kind of wake up here. Like,
a little bit.
She, they said she got drunk with power because she was trying to kind of even things out with Drita, and it wasn't really working, and she didn't like that Kate was cating. Kate was getting involved and kind of adding, she was almost fueling Drita's fire, being like, well, yeah, I didn't really understand why you were doing that. And Christine kind of loses her shit a little bit here and was like, I would like to have this conversation without some of you. And she basically like kicks Tyson out, because Tyson comes over to kind of just be like, oh, the girls are fighting. And then also does not want Kate there, because Kate wasn't really involved in the situation. So Kate has to like gather her like rosé and scurry inside. And it was a weird interaction where like, Christine's like really getting her back up and being like, you guys are fucking stupid. She's like, you have a choice. You have a choice. Like, she was like almost threatening Kate. Weird interaction. And so, yeah, like Tyson's like, okay, maybe this is a crack here. Maybe enough stuff has gone on here that maybe Christine will put up Kate and Drita here. Unfortunately, he can only get half of what he would like here, because this does really give enough ammunition for Christine to put up Kate as the second person here. One, because she already put her up, and two, she just pissed her off even more with like how she was kind of meddling in the Drita thing and not taking her side. So, and I will give Christine this. She, in her own way, ensured that she won supervillain and not Drita, and that is a point on her resume that she gets to take. Everyone's saying Drita's got a lot of friends on this jury. You don't want to send her with a lot of friends and also a win under her belt. So I don't know if Christine was thinking that deeply about it, but she at least made sure that didn't happen. So I don't know. She is a very confusing player. I still don't see her winning, but this was an interesting episode for her. Lots going on.
So Tyson is going to keep playing with the thermostat. That's one of his go-to moves in this season. And
has he not learned?
Well, I guess that I didn't really think of it that way either until Kate, and with all due respect to Kate, who I'm a fan of, I think very clearly like gets a producer to give her the like, this is actually very ironic because without Tyson turning up the thermostat, then I wouldn't have gone outside and gotten the notebook, which then got Tyson to be onto the block. Yeah. And that was really the unraveling of where the point where like the high point of where Tyson and Tom had the most power in the house. And then I don't think you can make a direct line, but you can make a squiggly line until that leading to how it all unravels for Team Tyson and Tom.
Everyone talks about envelope gate, but it's like, I really think that like notebook gate is really where things started to go wrong. And I completely agree, Rob. So
because at that point in time, Tyson had been talking to Kate, and he was talking to Kate about the final 2 deal. And then I don't know if it was directly related, but then where Kate was like calling out that to Tom Sandoval, hey, do you know that Tyson is making a final 2 with me? And that sort of started the little bit of the schism between Tom and Tyson, because it seemed like that Tyson had Tom, and then Tom kind of had Kate, and that was kind of like the unraveling of that.
Yeah, the list is how Tom loses Kate, basically. It starts there, but she doesn't lose Kate if Tyson doesn't play with the thermostat, but she also doesn't lose Kate if Ashley and Johnny and Paul don't have their notebook just laying outside in the like open. I think Ashley said that it wasn't her fault. Like, she left it with the boys and they left it outside. Well, so more power to Ashley for like not getting the blame for this. But yeah, there's a weird world where Tyson doesn't ever touch that thermostat. Kate doesn't go outside. Yes. She doesn't have the ammunition she needs to effectively turn on Tom and Tyson.
He was kind of already, digging himself a little bit of a hole before that, like you were saying, Rob, with like the, Kate not liking that he was insinuating that he might throw Tom under the bus to work with her. She did not put him up on that hit list initially. And, if Ashley does not get medevaced and, one of those 3 goes, I do think that buys Tyson some time for Tyson and Tom to rebuild the relationship with Kate and basically show that they are super loyal to Kate over anyone else. I don't know for sure that it works, but there is time and space to do that. But because of everything and how it unfolds there, Kate sees the notebook, sees that Tyson, at least Ashley thinks that Tyson is working with them and Tom's in the middle. Ashley gets medevaced, has to leave the game, and immediately Kate has to put a third person on the hit list and chooses Tyson. And now things are really escalating, and Tyson is basically on his back heels trying to save himself. And then it's like really hard to repair the relationship after that point. So it's not a direct, like, if only he didn't meddle with the thermostat, how different the game would be. But there is like enough there where you're like, it did kind of set off a few things here in motion. And you can see a world where if that doesn't happen, maybe things are okay.
You know, or if Johnny and Ashley weren't knocking boots, she wouldn't have got John-Rhea.
John-Rhea, sure.
That's the that's the bigger question.
From the game. Yeah,
Do you
that's the one.
think she's going to be back to vote? That she's cured?
Yeah, I think she is. I think we
Okay.
saw her in the preview of the finale, so that's
Okay.
good. I'm glad that she's okay. I mean, I knew that she was okay, but I'm
It's
glad
not the
that she
death blow
was.
that it used to be, John-Rhea.
Right, true. It used to be a really, it's
Heard that's how you get
much
John-Rhea.
milder.
Yeah.
It's much milder.
The death
these
blow is
days.
how you get it.
Oh my god.
But there's different strains, obviously.
It's good to know though that she was not sick enough, like that she couldn't return a couple of days later. But that's almost like tragic for her. Like she was so sick that she could not continue in the game. But like, what is this, like 5 days later?
It's been like 2 hours.
Like this is not a long game. This is like I don't think that there are that many days between when Ashley was really removed from the game and when she will ultimately come back to vote.
I think someone went to the hospital in the GOAT and came back. You know,
Yes.
like definitely. So this is nothing. This is
Possible. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about then the nominations. That Christine, she has to make her nominations. That Kate is knowing she's probably going to go on the block. She wears her special dress. It's time for this. And then we have Kate and Tyson who get nominated. But as a little bit of a twist, there's no chance for anybody to come down off the block. And they're going to vote in 30 minutes.
This was a waste of time. I don't know what the hell Joe McHale was doing. Rob, sometimes, and I think they're going to do this next episode as well, they will allow them to go campaign to people on the jury. I thought that's what they were going to do, something to that effect, because they said go take 30 minutes. But it really felt like, like so somebody like in Joel's ear was like, hey, we gotta, we gotta pause. There's like a helicopter flying over or something like that, messing with the sound or something. Because why? What was the point of this? All you get is Christine basically telling Kate to campaign for her vote as if she has a vote. Christine, you don't have a vote, babes. You don't have a vote. There's nothing for you to do. There was nothing for anybody to do. It was just 30 minutes of fodder.
Yeah. I mean, the minute we saw the challenge, this episode was like, thank God there was interpersonal drama with Drita and Christine and Paul and Kate with the Spitgate, because what are we doing? It was drawn out. We see what the challenge is, that there's no redemption challenge. It's just waiting for Tyson's death. So the 30 minutes didn't even seem necessary. Like Joel should have just been like, y'all want to vote now?
Right.
Are we good? Shall we get this show on the road? Especially because up until that point of the nominations, like Tyson's already doing the campaigning. He's campaigning to not get himself on the hit list. Like once he's on the hit list, there's not really any point in campaigning.
Right.
So what are we even using these 30 minutes
for? 30 minutes, yeah.
For Christine and Kate to have the weirdest conversation. These are two people that just do not communicate well at all. Like they have no idea what each other are saying. That was so bizarre. I was like, okay, well, there's no point in us locking in on anything right now. Like I felt like it was weirdly cagey on both of their sides. Like it was not one of those situations where I was like, you're the one that's wrong here. I was like, this is just a very bizarre conversation.
So it used to be earlier in the season that Christine was afraid of Kate. Like, remember, she would bring her coffee. She was like, I don't know if Kate likes me or not, but I'm going to stay on her good side. But I don't know, maybe Christine's feeling a little bit where she's not as afraid of Kate.
I think so. I think she finally came into her own a little bit. I think when she was on the block, she was like, I still think you're a bitch. And I was like, oh, that was wild of you to say to Kate, are you okay? But yeah, I think she's
acting.
And I think she's just finally gotten comfortable with Kate. I think to know Kate is to love her or to be afraid of her, and she's chosen her side.
I think that she is still terrified of her a little bit, but she has these moments of like where she taps in to, the Christine that will like, cut a bitch down. And I think she just like she kind of starts going, and then she does not know how to respond to Kate's level of conflict. Like Kate will destroy you methodically with a straight face and a dry tone, and I just think that it's one of those things where Christine is like, oh yeah, this bitch, I'm gonna get a little sassy with her, and then she's like, oh dear god, what have I done? Okay, abort mission. That's kind of my read of the situation, where she is still a little tentative.
Yeah. Was it Christine who in the first week went off and had like a really long speech when she got nominated?
Was that
I
Christine?
think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, I think we just didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I think that's if I'm not mistaken, we were just very confused as to what
I feel like
she was
they
trying
would
to
like
say.
long dissolves and like Joel McHale was like checking his watch.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
about right,
I think
yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Way back when.
Way back when.
Yeah. Ultimately ends up being a unanimous vote against Tyson. Talk me through New York not voting for Tyson to stay. She says that, hey, what did she say? It's like it's actions versus words, and that
The talk is very cheap. I have to go with actions.
yeah. And so that Kate never put her on the block. That was the ultimate deciding factor.
Yeah, neither did Tyson.
Mhm.
Listen, Chappell.
I mean, they had Lucy and Ethel.
I know. I guess, but that's the thing is like they had Lucy and Ethel, and then more recently they had the fight at the party with the loved ones. And she said it herself. She like we saw New York getting fights over Tom and Tyson. This is one of those situations where like I can usually trace back what set New York off, what was the misunderstanding, what got her in her feelings to get defensive. She seemed almost mad at Tyson because he says, as he's going through the wall, he says, New York, I love you. And she goes, no, you don't. It's very quick, but she says, no, you don't. And I am puzzled by this one, and it really hurt my heart.
Yeah, she seemed upset with him.
She did, and I just don't really understand what happened. And I would love, I don't know, Chappell, did you figure this out? Because I'm still trying to put it together.
No, I think we're probably gonna get like a flashback or something to maybe Paul or Kate saying something in her ear and kind of, like twisting maybe something Tyson said. I feel like we're gonna see something like that, but I don't hate this. I actually think this is the right move anyway. I think you go with the house here because New York is officially the swing vote here. You got Kate and Drita on one side, you got Paul and Christine on the other side. Now she's workable for both sides. She didn't vote against Kate. So Kate is not going to win Supervillain and immediately like, I got to put up New York. There's an argument to be made that you should put up Christine and Paul. And Paul and Christine should definitely not put up New York. They should put up Kate and Drita. Look at my girl. Look at her. Strategic mastermind.
I don't hate the move at all. And she can defend it to Tyson if she gets there too, being like, I love you. You were going anyway. And your girl's trying to win this shit. I love the move, but it felt emotional and not strategic. And that's why that's the part I don't understand. Because she did seem kind of upset with him. And also the rationale of this lady has never put me up. Well, neither has Tyson.
Yeah.
And Tyson has been supervillain too.
Tyson's going. He's going home. He's going home. You don't need his loyalty right now. You need Kate's loyalty because if Kate wins supervillain of the week, New York does not want to see that block next to Paul or next to Christine. It needs to be New York on either side. She did the thing. Maybe she's trying to justify it with some personal reason. You don't need to. Queen, work your magic, Queen.
Though. Like, tell us though. If
I don't
that's
think she
what
knows,
you're doing,
Jenny. I don't think she knows. I don't think she can articulate it. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Okay.
We are translating.
Somebody got to translate the New Yorkism.
She's got a strategy. She's not quite aware that she has the strategy, but we see it and we will translate it.
That part.
Right.
What do you think, Rob? Like, do you know what happened? Do you have a
I have
sense
no
of
idea.
what this
No,
was?
I have not. Don't have like inside scoop from Tyson or anything like that. We didn't even get a chance to ask Tyson about this because
I know.
Tom Sandoval wanted to talk about
to,
Paul.
we're gonna have another conversation because, and maybe, like you said, maybe we'll get some
Tyson
sort of
might not
flashback
know.
or explanation.
5
He
hour
might
deep
not
dive,
know.
Rob.
He might
Yeah.
have seen that. Like, that's the thing, is it happened so fast that he might like have seen the episode and been like, New York was mad at me and I didn't know. I don't know. It was very confusing.
Yeah. Can we do final 5 power rankings as we go into the finale?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have to. I think if I'm looking at number 1, I think it's got to be Drita. I think she can beat anybody at this point, and I think it's not even close. I think next I'm looking at Kate as next, honestly. I think one or two of them is going to win, and then from there I think it gets hairy because I do think New York can win the game. I think Paul can beat Christine. I don't think Christine can. Honestly, I think Paul could beat Christine, and I think Christine can beat Paul. And it's really looking like another one of those 1 vote margin losses for Paul, potentially. I would hate that for him. But yeah, Christine it's not like Christine has a ton of loyal allies. They just put her on the block this last week anyway, right? So there's not people like just falling over themselves to give Christine the money, and they're not people falling over each other to give Paul the money. I'd say typically a Christine type would win before a Paul type. So he's my number 5.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I co-sign the rankings, but I don't have as much of a gap between Drita and Kate that you do, Chappell. I do think that I can still see a situation where Kate wins. I think that we have a lot of content to make us believe that Drita could win. A Drita, like from what we've seen of this show, makes a lot of sense. There are obviously people actively pissed off with Kate, whereas that is not the case with Drita. But I don't know. I still think that there is a certain, level of respect for, like, listen, Kate played a House of Villains game. She ran some shit.
Okay.
But I do think that that's where the gap starts, is like the two of them. And I really have a hard time seeing any of the rest of them winning at all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you talk me through how we get down to the final 2? Is it all comps the rest of the way? Because here's the thing. I don't see I can't see Drita winning comps. And who's going to take her to the end? Could she be the fallen angel that doesn't make it to the final 2?
Definitely so. I could see that for Drita for sure. And I would hate that. But I do think they've given her enough personal content to where we would care a lot if that does happen with Drita. So normally in the finale, the eliminated contestants come back basically immediately. And the people who are in the final 3 spots are like supposed to kind of go around and campaign, and then there's like another a battle royal challenge to decide who is going to be in the last challenge. So these people are going to get whittled down very quickly. I think it's going to go from 5 to 3. Jenny, am I missing that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because New York also made it to the final 5 last season, but it was that challenge.
It was
outside, and like I think that it was like the 2 people that wasn't it just the 2 people that came in last in the challenge.
No, I think this is when they did this weird kind of hamster wheel thing, Rob, where they had to rank everybody, and the people who were ranked on the ends, I think, went home. Is that what happened, Jenny? Like
that was earlier.
Was that?
No, that was Teresa was still there. Teresa was still there. But there was like a puzzle and trivia component type thing that I can't remember who won it. It was one of Safari, Jesse, or Wes that won it. And I just remember there was a bee like on New York, and she was getting distracted or something.
Larsa
I don't know.
New York both lost and they got eliminated. Yeah. So it's normally like a double or something like that in the end. They whittle this down very quickly. I think in the first season, Johnny Fairplay and Shake from 90 Day Fiance. From Love is Blind. Shake and Johnny Fairplay go out in this spot last in the first season. The second season is Larsa and New York, and so here we'll probably be eliminating 2 people immediately.
Yeah. I saw Johnny Fairplay at the Ron Clark Academy last week, Chappell, and when you were there, I know you said you didn't have a lot of interaction with him.
Yeah,
he was telling me, because we went on the tour of the school, and he said to me, I went on this tour last year. I think I cried about 9 times going through the Ron Clark Academy. I said, what? Does Ron Clark have a pinball room?
Oh my God. Whew. Did you say that to him?
I did say that to him.
And what did he say? Yeah, I mean, look, that we've seen Johnny Fairplay brought the tears about less things, you know. He's what do you know? He's a sensitive guy.
I'm feeling robbed of you on our season 1 coverage where we could have been getting your Johnny Fairplay impression this entire time.
I blew it. It's a regret. I missed it.
Yeah, you missed out on that fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cried a lot.
He's emotional.
I know. I love that for him.
He's in touch with his feelings. Yeah.
I think that's important. It's just confusing when you have got cast on House of Villains and it's just like not feeling very villainous.
So after they do the initial double elimination challenge, they typically will allow whoever wins that goes immediately to the final 2. And then there's one more redemption challenge, basically, to decide who's going to come into the final 2 in that last spot. So you're right. Drita or Kate, they're going to have to win, you know, in order to solidify their spots. We could easily see them both taken out in the next episode if they just both lose the challenge. But Kate has been somewhat of a challenge beast. So I don't know. It maybe if the 2 of them go out, maybe at that point, Paul has a better chance to get to the final 2 with New York or with Christine. The question is, can he beat either of them? And that's the one I don't think he can beat New York. He might be able to beat Christine.
Are we getting to a point where we can say if you come from a show with a social strategy component, like a Survivor, a Big Brother, a challenge, can you win this game? Or with the way that the cast is made up and the way that, you know, being a gamer or a strategist kind of makes you a target, or people just don't like that. Like Tyson was really seen as like, I don't want Tyson to win because Tyson should win. Like Tyson thinks he should win. Or like, if we get to, you know, the end of this show where this season, Paul does not win. Not that I'm saying that he should win right now, but like he won't, let's say. After 3 seasons, can we say really hard to come from one of those shows and win this game?
I don't think it's necessarily the show. I think it's the archetype of the person that they are bringing in from the show. I think that when you have your Tyson, when you have your Wes's, where it's sort of like mustache twirly, diabolical. You both have said that's not what wins this show. Could Abby Maria win House of Villains?
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
A straightforward player who's going to tell you what she thinks and you're not going to like it. But then at the end, you're like, well, she did get here, right? Yeah. That's exactly what it is. There are other types of villains, you know. I think the ones that they've cast thus far cannot, right? So like Jesse Goddard's almost wins last season, you know. Not to say that he would have beat Safari, but he was pretty close. He would have beat Wes for sure. So you know, there are definitely different types of players. Jesse is not looked at as one of those schemy players, even though he might be. He's not looked at it like that. And I think that if you bring in some villains that are just known for being brash and not necessarily strategic or whatever, maybe even like Ashley. I think Ashley would have had a good chance to win because she wouldn't have been looked at as the backstabby type.
I thought Ashley had the best.
Season.
Ashley Miller.
Yeah.
I thought that she had the best chance of that alliance of 3. And then I was just blindsided by her being meta factor.
What about a evil Dick in his prime?
Ooh.
He's just so awful though. Like I don't think that they would allow him to stick around. So there's some people people definitely get voted out for being awful, like for just being just like ridiculous people that we cannot live with. I mean, the people hated Jax, hated Corinne. You know, and Corinne's not even that bad. Victoria, another person that they just hated. If they hate you, they're not going to let you anywhere near the end. You're going to go up on the block every time. These people don't. They just don't have it in them.
Here's the thing: Evil Dick is a dick. But when he's getting along with people and he has friends, like people do have an affection for him as well. So like it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like,
I'm just trying to think of like who are these other people that could win? Randy Bailey. Could Randy Bailey win House of Villains?
no,
because
I
they're gonna
love
hate
Randy,
him.
but
They're
no.
gonna hate him. Sandra.
Yeah.
Sandra could win House of Villains.
Sandra could
Okay.
win.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Sandra
There
could
are
win House
other
of Villains.
people from the villains tribe that could
Parvati
potentially
could
Yes.
win House of Villains.
Yes.
Sandra
Yes.
could win House of Villains.
What about from Big Brother? Who's the Big Brother person that could win?
A villain? Ooh, that's so Danielle Reyes. She can't win. She couldn't even win Big Brother because of the way they were so petty.
She's that
too
archetype of
diabolical.
she's a thinker.
She's too much of a thinker. Maybe
Mhm.
Amanda Zuckerman.
Okay.
Because she's
Didn't-
awful, but at least she's
Didn't
awful in her
Erin
face.
Grease say that she wanted to come back to Big Brother recently?
Wait, Gina Marie said she got the call for House of Villains. Y'all don't remember that?
Right.
Honestly, I mean, if we're on the way to a Drita win, I mean, you don't have to
It's pretty
squint
close.
too far.
It's not that different.
You
It's
think
not
they
that
called
different.
Gina Marie and they couldn't get her? So they're like, damn, we need a mob wife.
Oh
I'm
my
sure
God.
the people, Big Brother villains just are so awful, though. That's why I'm like, I can't even think of anybody. Was there a villain on this last season? Oh, the cast, Mickey, rest in peace. Maybe Keanu, Vince. No, Vince couldn't. No, stop it.
No, he would
stop
get
it.
eaten alive. Okay, I'm just like, I know that the one survivor person that gets talked about every season that has not appeared yet is Russell, right? Like
Russell.
Russell Hantz. Like now you have me thinking about a season where Russell Hantz and Evil Dick are on the season together.
Look,
It's just
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
I'm
We've
sorry,
moved so
we're
far
covering
past
that
House of Villains.
season. We're covering that, okay?
Oh my
Like,
God.
it's gonna
No,
be a disaster, but
Yeah, it's a very specific type of villain that does well on this game, and they have to be very straightforward. I think Safari is what you see, what you get. Tanisha has never not been what you see is what you get, and I think whoever the winner of this season is going to be somebody who plays cards up, and I think maybe that's the ultimate strategy of the game.
yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. Well, we will reconvene in 1 week's time to talk about the winner of House of Villains season 3.
Crazy. We're already
Made it this far. Yeah.
Yeah. Ready to
Are you
crown our
proud of
next supervillain.
Tyson? Rob,
Yeah,
are you proud of
that's
your friend Tyson?
Yeah, I'm proud of Tyson. I think that this is similar to his run in the Challenge USA, where he comes in, really dominates things, probably more so in the Challenge USA. I think that one he really wanted ends up coming up short due to bad game design also there. And so he does come away from this with a new great friend in Tom Sandoval. So I'm happy for him for that. But ultimately, this is not a show that you are able to ultimately, strategize your way to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, not Tyson. I think Kate took like a specific amount of glee in taking this away from Tyson, just because remember, he's a podcaster. He talks about strategy. Like,
I didn't
it's like your
that,
biggest
Kate.
fear in the traders, Rob. I bet. Your biggest fear. Speaking of, we didn't even mention Joel McHale wearing his traders shirt. Look at that.
Yes, yeah, that's been a running gag of him versus Alan Cumming.
He hates him.
Yeah, I don't know if Alan Cumming knows who Joel McHale
doesn't know who Joel
is.
McHale is.
Yeah, it is a one-sided beef, which is so hilarious.
One-sided rivalry.
Put Joel McHale on the traders next season. Cowards.
Joel McHale on the traders would be really good.
Would be so fun.
Yes, he would be really fun. Yeah. So okay,
Cowards.
we'll see what happens there. Jenny, what are you working on these days?
I'm working on life
and
living and the pursuit of happiness.
LIVIN.
Yeah, exactly. Recently wrapped up covering Company Retreat. Jury Duty presents Company Retreat. With Mike Bloom, and that was really, really fun. So if you haven't had a chance, it's a quick and joyful watch. 8 episodes, and so that was my other pursuit of happiness recently. But other than that, I'm just really looking forward to seeing how House of Villains season 3 wraps up, and yeah, maybe I'll see some folks in Toronto.
Yeah, Jenny, it's
Soon.
happening.
Yeah,
We're
I know.
closing in less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah. So big time. Enjoying Survivor 50. I don't know. Things are happening.
Okay.
Spring has sprung, you know?
Spring is sprung, and that's why
Yeah.
Chappell, sun's
got hot.
out, guns
Yeah,
out.
you got a little hot.
No, it got hot in here. I started sweating. Y'all see my face listening? Yeah. Yeah.
Chappell,
Anyways.
what's coming up for you?
Recapkickback.com. That's where I'm doing all my podcasting. Come check it out.
Okay. And then I got to catch up with our old friend from Dondi. I got to talk to the Golden God, David.
Yeah.
We talked about Australian Survivor. And Chappell had said a couple of weeks ago, hey, Australian Survivor is getting crazy. And he wasn't lying. That Chappell has told zero lies. And Australian Survivor, I caught up to talk to David, had a really fun conversation. I haven't been able to pitch this to anybody yet. Going back and thinking about who David is as a Survivor player, if Boston Rob and Tyson had a baby, what do you think?
He does have the showmanship of both of them, and he does kind of rule with an iron fist, but he's so much flashier than Boston Rob. I wish there was a better.
But that's where Tyson comes in.
Right, but Tyson doesn't. I don't know, man. I think like Tyson. Yeah, I guess so. He's like, yeah, I guess it's right there.
I feel like we're missing like a third. Like there needs to be like a.
Can you throw Tony in there too?
I was literally going to say
raised by Tony. Yeah,
right, raised by Tony. I think you need that extra bit of just like absurdity because Boston Rob is not partying in the pile of popcorn. Tyson might.
Tyson is,
but you know. Boston Rob is just going to lead this alliance to its doom and win the game. But it's not like, I don't know. It feels like with Boston Rob, he leads by fear. And this is a different type of vibe. So maybe it's just Tyson and Tony. I don't know. This sounds cartoony. Yeah, it sounds very cartoony.
Very cartoony. Yeah, but really fun.
And Joe Manganiello.
Yes, Joe Manganiello. Well, I think that really, I said this to David in the interview that I felt like that a lot of his hosting style, I feel like, is very much, it feels like, stuff that he took from watching Joe Manganiello on Deal or No Deal Island.
Yeah.
You know, now you have me thinking about, we said Joel McHale on The Traitors, and I'm like, I want to get a bunch of these reality TV hosts on The Traitors too, because it's like, yeah, let's get the Golden
said
God.
That he still wants to do The Traitors.
I want Joe Manganiello on there. I want let's get a bunch of these hosts.
Coward, say it.
Julie Chen Mundes,
you know that I'm saying it. You know that I'm saying it.
Yep.
And let's get probes there. I don't know. I'm just saying.
That'll be fun. That'll be, when Jeff goes to the castle. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 9 of House of Villains. Take care and be on the lookout for the exit interview with Tom and Tyson. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.